Hello, it's great to see you back as we continue with more Explore Tulsa.
Let's do this, Trish. I'm ready to learn how to fly.
You know, Stevie, flying takes a lot of practice and learning about planes and aeronautics.
No, it's just like riding a bike. 2 pedals and a handlebar. That's all it takes to be flying, but I'm still a little bit, trying to figure out that landing part.
Well, that's a pretty important thing to know. So why don't we go meet David Willer and the guys at Viking Aviation School? Are you ready?
We have clearance, Clarence. Roger, roger. What's your vector, Victor?
Oh, brother.
I was born with wings. Both my family, both sides, mom and dad's side of the family are aviators. And I decided when I was a little kid, probably just after potty training, my dad took me up flying and let my brother fly the airplane, and I was in the back seat, and I didn't really like that very much. So I decided right then and there that I was going to learn how to fly.
My uncle used to work for Delta Airlines, and back in the days when you could get free rides with relatives and stuff, so he took me up in one of Delta's planes when I was probably 6 or 7. Actually, the owner of the school was my student. Before we started Viking, that airplane was part of the owner of the airport, and he had it rental, and I was instructing out of it just as a freelance instructor, and the owner came up to me and wanted to learn to fly.
Well, the reason I decided I wanted to learn how to fly is really kind of twofold. For starters, from a very young boy, I always had a fascination with flying, and when I was pretty young in high school, I was able to take some lessons and get acquainted, and then things happen, life happens, and I got away from it. And then in my career, I got to a place where I was spending all of my time in airports. I go to most of the hub cities around here because in my day job we work for airlines, and so I finally decided that if I learned to fly, it would be not only a lot cheaper, it would also be a big time saver for me, because I could just go directly from airport to airport.
Most of our clientele are usually people 30 and above. A lot of them have always wanted to fly and never had the money before, so now they're a little more successful, so they want to learn to fly. A couple of guys like my boss have wanted to learn to fly because they have to do a lot of traveling for their business, so they wanted to save on fares and have a lot more flexibility in their schedule.
You pick up an enormous amount of time on the front end and the back end of every flight, because you don't have to go through security, you don't have to wait for anything, and they bring the rental car to the wing of your car. So as a businessman, when I travel to, say, Atlanta, I land the aircraft and I'm in the car and I'm off the airport in under 2 minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in people's life that you try to draw from as an instructor, and then you take what they know and you build upon it and teach them what you don't know or what they don't know. So you take their backgrounds and whatnot. So we try to get to know our students really well, because any of that previous knowledge, hopefully we can try to relate it. Driving is one of those things. It's a lot of like driving, it really is, but then there's completely not like driving. So for example, you steer the airplane with your feet. You can't do that in the car. So there's a little bit of things that you can do to kind of help the student do it, like fold your arms while you're taxiing for the first time, so they don't want to try to steer like a vehicle.
So when I flew at the bigger airports, you get in the aircraft and you're always paying for that time when the propeller starts spinning. And I didn't realize what an added benefit it was that when you come out here, you get in an aircraft and you're literally in the air in just a few minutes. At the bigger airports, you have to call ground control and they taxi you around and you wait in line for the other aircraft. So out of an hour flight lesson, you may only get 25-30 minutes of flight time actually. Here, you're getting 50 minutes of flight time every time you get in the plane. You can buy flights for somebody. You call out here and, for under $150, you can surprise somebody, bring them out here to the airport, say you got a surprise for them, and then all of a sudden you're taking off and you're out flying over the lake, you're flying over downtown Tulsa, Looking at the lights at Tulsa at night, looking at Christmas lights, my kids absolutely flipped out when we came out here.
It's a good way to just kind of take the day and digest it. And it's a good way to relax. It's a good way to just enjoy life, have fun, right? We're here to have joy, and this is one way that I do.
You know, that it's a great feeling. I don't know that I can describe how it feels when, particularly when we have, you know, when we have some younger guys and when they make their first solo, or like Jay here, when Jay flew with us for a long time, and you know, they do their first solo and then they do their cross countries, and then when they finally take that check ride, and I get that photograph of that guy with a brand spanking new pilot's license, there's just nothing that feels better to me than realizing that we were able to help that guy, that person, achieve their goals.